Lucy Colony, the wife of the Tory councillor, has been sentenced to 31 months in prison for inciting violence on social media. During the race riots that happened recently, where a hotel housing refugees was set on fire with people inside, Connolly tweeted this. Mass deportation now. Set fire to all the fucking hotels full of the bastards for all I care. While you're at it, take the treacherous government and politicians with them. I feel physically sick knowing what these families will now have to endure. If that makes me racist, so be it. Now, the post was deleted not long afterwards, but people obviously had the receipts. Now, many on the right are unsurprisingly furious. They think she shouldn't be in prison and are once again talking about a two-tier system. Notably, Dan Wootton called her a political prisoner. Lucy Connolly, the wife of a Tory councillor, has been jailed for 2.5 years for an inappropriate post on X after the Southport massacre. She was devastated because her own 19th-month son had been killed by NHS neglect. She is a political prisoner. Now, it just goes to show how much Conservatives want to play the victim. Now, Connolly did lose her 19th-month-old son, but that doesn't mean you then need to incite racial violence. David, many including Dan Wootton think a prison sentence is not deserved, and in fact this is the government clamping down on political opposition. Your response?
My response is okay, because I really don't care what these people think. Ultimately, it's like people don't understand the repercussions that this kind of speech can have. A hotel was set on fire. There were probably very young children in there, because a lot of people that flee these countries that we're talking about tend to be fleeing with children to try and get them out of these horrible situations. It's absolutely appalling. And the worst thing is, the most hypocritical part of it is, the right will always talk about identity politics and wokeness, like we've just said. Yet everywhere I look, there's these people going, this 44-year-old mother. Okay, right. Well, if you want to say she shouldn't go to prison for trying to incite people to burn down a hotel full of people, then maybe don't say all of this stuff about her identity. And additionally, if you want to bring her identity into it, maybe the 44-year-old mother should think more carefully about what she does and imperil her duty to look after her children, is probably what I would say. But of course, the right can't think that because it's critical thinking.
I mean, are you saying there are there are consequences for your actions? I mean, that's a preposterous thing to say. I mean, I love how Wootton says it's an inappropriate post as well. I mean, she called for refugees and politicians to be burned alive. That's a tad more inappropriate. And, you know, could you imagine if a Muslim had said this? Burn people in their churches, burn the British. Do you think the same people, you know, defending Connolly would defend that?
No, because they're rank hypocrites. This is the biggest thing I can't stand about the whole lot of the people that we're talking about, is that they are rank hypocrites. I'd like to think that I'm fairly consistent in the things I think and say and believe. And I've said for years, I am absolutely not an advocate for free speech, because people don't understand what that is. They think that free speech is the license to say whatever you want. But if you have people going on TV and saying, I mean, you know, obviously I'm a little bit dubious about what it is I can even say now as a hypothetical. You have people advocating for rape or, you know, like torture and things like that. These things have an effect. And especially when you are part of the political establishment. She was married to a Tory, and quite a prominent one at that. The problem is people pick up on that and people think it's normalized. And then not only does it become speech, it becomes action. We see American politicians go, you know, we need to stop the groomers because they're grooming kids and they're going to groom all these kids and they're going to groom kids and ruin people's lives. And then coincidentally, some guy goes into a gay bar and shoots 20 people. And then all of a sudden it's, oh, well, I didn't tell him to do that. You don't need to. If you're so stupid that you don't understand that the words that come out of your mouth can prompt actions, then don't say them. It's that simple.
I've always maintained that the right do not understand free speech, or they don't care about it. For them, it's, I want my speech and I don't want to be called out on it and you can't say anything. That's not free speech. So anyone any right winger or conservative that says something outrageous and they're called out, they say, "What is this? My free speech?" And it's like, well, of course it's your free speech, but it's also our free speech to call you a shithead when you say something disgusting. You're also absolutely right that being a free speech absolutist is not something that's even viable in society, because let's change. Let's think about it this way, right? We don't have absolute freedom, right? Someone doesn't have freedom to kill somebody else. We have laws that say you're not allowed to harm that person. Now, technically, you are infringing on their freedom by stopping them from doing something, but you're doing that because you want to protect somebody else. And that's where you have to find a real balance. Saying that you can say whatever you want with no consequences is not free speech, because obviously the victims in this, and in this case, yes, if you're going to tweet out saying, set fire to hotels with refugees in it, and that was what happened. I'm not saying that it was done because of that tweet, but it could have done, and this has obviously happened before, then you are actively kind of oppressing someone with your words. So protecting, in my view, protecting free speech, you kind of need to curb it in a little way. But the right don't want to talk about that because, again, they've never supported it. Now, I think it's really important to note, though, that people are bringing up two-tier systems again, two-tier policing. I agree, actually, there is two-tier policing, but it's not what they think. I mean, they'll say, these people on the right will say, oh, it's two-tier policing because Hugh Edwards is walked away free. He's not in prison. And this person who just tweeted something is in jail. And it's like, well, we, covered the story about Hugh Edwards before, and we discussed that it's absolutely wrong that he is walking the streets, right? But this, the sentencing was actually something that's been around for years. So it's not like they decided, oh, we're not going to jail Hugh Edwards, but we're going to jail this person on Twitter. It's the whole system that's broken. And I want to also talk about two-tier system in another way. Just Stop Oil. They're sentenced to 5 years for doing a Zoom call. They're not protesting. They're talking about a Zoom call. In the 2011 riots, you had people jailed for years for stealing rice. So these people, again, don't really care about two-tier policing. They just want to say what they want without repercussions. What's your response to that?
That's the essence of it all. They're so keenly obsessed with the idea of being able to say anything without any kind of repercussion, without any discussion. And it's absolutely insane to think about that. But then this is the problem, really, that there is merit and weight. The thing that I find a lot arguing with right-wingers is that there's the seed, the nub, the very sort of like whisper of a point, but they just hair off in the wrong direction. It's like all the people that get angry about the World Economic Forum. Yes, the World Economic Forum is bad because it's a giant lobbying group for billionaires. It's not because they're trying to wokeify your pronouns to death. Like, it's absolutely insane. Like, please focus on the actual issue of the fact that they're the ones that got Rachel Reeves to water down her promise on green investment through Labour, because they said, go to the people that are burning the earth about it and they'll give you some cash to fix the problem that they're causing. It drives me crazy dealing with right-wingers, because I'm like, I understand why you think this is a problem, but you're wrong on the fundamentals of it. And it's not some kind of like diametric I'm right and you're wrong thing. It is just this simple, can we not just have a normal human being discussion about it? But every time I try, I just feel like I'm going crazy.
Support independent media, support social justice that's there on social media. Thank you. Turn left.